In 2014, the prophet Tony Seba made a series of predictions which experts said were crazy. They were outlandish, they were fanciful, they were an impossibility. It wasn't possible for renewable energy to proceed at the rate that Seba and Rethink X predicted. Isn't it funny that now they're pretty much saying he was right? Experts have just confirmed that next year will be the year that solar power will pass coal as the world's leading source of energy next year. So you know what I did? I went and had a look at what Tony Seba predicted in 2014. Well, you guessed it. The man is a genius. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. It's great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. My name's Sam Evans. And back in 2014, this is one of the many comments that Tony Seba made. He said that solar would become significantly cheaper than coal and replace it by 2025 as the world's leading source of energy. This is not just a theoretical framework. Solar PV has improved its cost basis by more than 5,000 times relative to oil since 1970. By 2020, as the market for solar expands, solar will improve its cost basis relative to oil by 12,000 times. The economics of energy resource extraction based on decreasing returns just cannot compete with the economics of technology, industries, and its increasing returns. Well, in 2014, Tony Seba was really the person most responsible for me wanting to create a YouTube channel. The media constantly tells us the world, it's coming to an end. Global warming will fry all of us. We need coal. Without coal, we will all not have enough power, not have enough energy to manufacture things, and the world will be in basically a financial crisis. Now, if we get rid of coal, sure, maybe we can go without energy and save the planet, but then we all die from starvation. Well, that's just media garbage, because next year, Tony Seba will be proven right once again. Next year, coal as the world's largest source of energy. It's far cheaper, as Tony Seba predicted in 2014. And the amazing thing is that solar continues to get cheaper and cheaper, as Seba also predicted. In fact, his predicted cost declines have been remarkably similar to the actual cost declines that we've seen happen over the last 9 years. RenewEconomy.com.au reports that it's likely that next year, renewable energy will outpace coal as the world's leading source of power. This is according to a new report from the International Energy Agency, or the IEA. In its latest electric market report update, the IEA cautioned that this historic moment would only come if weather conditions were favourable, but the prediction is the agency's most ambitious to date. And guess what? The IEA always understates the future. It understates the progress of renewable energy, of electric car adoption every single year. So you can almost guarantee that it's 100% certainty that renewable energy will outpace coal next year. And the other thing to consider is we just saw the 4 hottest days in history occur on successive days, all in a row. You can imagine that next year is likely to be a fairly warm year, going by what we've seen this year. The agency says its new prediction is thanks to accelerated pace of growth of technology like solar and wind, with global renewables on track to jump by a third this year. Now, consider this as well. Tesla just released their second quarter financial results. And Elon Musk and Tesla weren't lying when they said 2 years ago that Tesla's fastest growing business sector would certainly be energy storage, battery deployment, getting Tesla Megapacks and Tesla Powerwalls out to consumers, to businesses who were demanding them, basically screaming for them. That's what's happened. Tesla's growth in its renewable energy deployment, in its battery deployment, has been astronomical. It's far outpaced its automotive sector. The prediction from the IEA comes as they find that global electricity demand growth in general will ease in 2023 before accelerating in 2024 as the world continues to move away from gasoline-powered cars and buy electric ones. Growth is slowing because advanced economies are grappling with the continued effects of the energy crisis. Demand is expected to go up slightly by less than 2% in 2023, down from 2.3% in 2022. If the world economy rallies next year, as most are predicting, the IEA says electricity demand will rise by around 3.3%. At a more granular level, electricity demand in both the EU and Japan is expected to drop by 3% in 2023, while the US will see a drop of almost 2%. By contrast, in 2023, China's electricity demand is predicted to grow by 5.3%, while India's is set to grow by 6.5%. But guess who is deploying more solar, more renewable energy than the rest of the world combined? You guessed it, it's China. Almost 2/3 of the net reduction in EU electricity demand in 2022 is estimated to come from energy-intensive industries grappling with elevated energy prices in the short term. In the long term, though, as Seba predicted, energy prices will bottom out to being at near marginal cost, which will make it much cheaper for you to own an EV. In heartening news, renewables are set to meet all additional electricity demand in 2023 and in 2024, with the renewables share of global electricity generation exceeding 1/3 for the first time in history next year. What's more, says reneweconomy.com.au, increases in emission from power generation in India and China will be more than offset by declines in other regions. The EU alone accounts for 40% of the total decline in emissions from power generation expected to occur over the next year and a half. Many European nations have already hit 50% renewable energy generation, and that is their current average. Global renewable generation increased by 8% in 2022, its highest growth rate in more than 30 years. Growth is expected to dip slightly this year, though as droughts hit hydropower production. That will be offset by massive deployment of wind and solar. Why so much solar? The price of solar this year has come down by nearly 40%, which is extraordinary. In addition to that, it's the perfect storm for solar because the efficiency of panels has increased while the costs have fallen through the floor. Rising demand for cooling as the world warms will also increase demand on electricity supply, says the agency. However, Seba also predicted something else, which I think he'll get right. Nearly all the world's energy generation will be renewable energy by 2030. And there's one very good reason for that, which I talked about at the start of this video. It comes back to what Tony said in 2014. Solar PV has improved its cost basis by more than 5,000 times relative to oil since 1970. As the market for solar expands, solar will improve its cost basis relative to oil by 12,000 times. The economics of energy resource extraction based on decreasing returns just cannot compete with the economics of technology, industries, and its increasing returns. The Red Queen syndrome, he says, pushes the fossil fuel industry not just to extract more wells, but to dig deeper, use harsher chemicals, and create more wastelands. The fossil fuel industry has to do this just to stay in place. The BP Gulf oil disaster and the monstrosity of the Alberta oil sands are not exceptions. They're the inevitable result of the Red Queen having to run harder just to stay in place. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Bye-bye.